Right, sound check, hair check, we're ready to go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the 12-minute AI Game Development Challenge. In today's episode, we will be building the game of Breakout. This time, we're going to make the game 3D. I posted a couple of videos on playing around with the 3D version of the engine that I wrote. I was actually pretty happy with the result, and I felt confident enough to actually do this game in 3D. GitHub just announced agent mode, and I just had to check it out because I thought it would be something different and it would be really interesting to put it through its paces. In my initial experiments with agent mode in GitHub Copilot, it actually really surprised me with the level of polish that it was able to get the game into. This just convinced me that it was a worthwhile exercise to actually try to build this next game for this next challenge using Copilot agent mode. Same thing again, we'll try to get it down in 12 minutes. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so to start off with, Ctrl+Shift+I, go down here into agent mode, and to access this, you actually need to be using Visual Studio Code Insider. So you can see it's green, which is a different installer and everything, but pretty much the same user interface. And what we're going to start off with doing is I'm going to use the agent to create the implementation plan for me. So last week we used DeepSeek, today we're just going to use Sonnet and the agent. So you can say, I'm going to create this in plan.md, and then make the plan iterative, do basic features first, polish last, take into account the ECS technical architecture here, take into account the existing code base in code base. I'm going to do all this first and let it do its thing so that we can then implement it. And based on what I've seen so far, it's like I need to edit this plan a little bit because it's going to come up with something that kind of works well, but not something that works within 12 minutes. So we'll take a look at it. In the meantime, I thought it was worthwhile to just talk about the other aspects of the project. So the technical design here, as you can see, just really explains a little bit more about the ECS system that I'm using. And speaking of ECS system, the entity component system is very similar to the 2D game engine that I wrote for the 2D version using Phaser. In terms of the code structure, very, very similar, and that's the beauty of the ECS system. It's intended to be quite modular, quite reusable, but the game is fully 3D, and you can see I've added some debug stuff. You can see the origin axes there, very useful, especially when you're working 3D, and different camera angles. So we'll be mainly looking at this at camera angle because we're gonna do a 2D-like game, but in 3D space, make use of the great things about 3D. Okay, cool. Back this. So it's looking at the plan, and it's going through the code base. So it's essentially the reason for doing this is that I wanted to really understand the code base first before thinking about how to use the implementation plan. Because looking at the code base, it will know that it should create the components first, and then the systems, and then put them together into the game scene. And like I said, this is like what I found is like really good structure for code because it really just ends up being very neat, and the idea is also it constrains the AI from going too far off a tangent or ramming everything to just a single file, which it can sometimes do. Alright, so it's done its thing, it's read it, it says, and it's going to create an implementation plan. And here's the plan that it actually has. Alright, so I'm going to set the plan. Do not click done, because when you click done, it will actually clear this entire page. So do not click that. So I had to learn this the hard way a few times. Okay, so here it is. Alright, so let's look at it. Right, so it's going to start off with create the components. Alright, implement core systems, movement, basic wall collision input, manage brick state, pedal and brick collisions, checkpoints and line. That's great. Single row of bricks. No, add basic setup, add place pedal bottom, basic controls for pedal. Great. And game over condition when 3 lives lost. I don't want sound, right? It really loves to do sound. I would like it to do sound at the end. Yeah, don't want it to do sound. No sound. This is actually a pretty good plan, I would say. I would like it to do the score display first, and then do the polish. Okay, particle effects, ball throw effects. So now you can press done, as I'll show you. It just clears everything. Boom, everything is gone, and you never want that when you're midway through an implementation. Okay, so we're about to get started with the implementation of this plan. I actually just edited this a little bit more, and actually what happens is that one time I got rate limited, second time my Chrome crashed and couldn't restart again, and hopefully this works this time. What we'll be doing is just making sure that we're in agent mode. Zoom in a bit so that it's not so bad on the eyes. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, follow the plan in plan.md, which was generated, modify the game scene, adhere to the folder structure and best practices on instances, components and systems in here. Keep the camera system, remove the placeholder wall, minimize updates. This is just to reduce the amount of potential code changes where I don't want it, and then make sure that there's imports as well. And I'll say start with implementing phase 1. Alright, and I think we're ready to go. I almost forgot to start the clock. Okay, and let's make sure this is running. It is. 3, 2, 1. Oh, sorry. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Alright, and here we go. Let's pass this into Claude. Okay, and yeah, just a couple of things to note is that, you know, when you see generating, that's it thinking, so very similar to cursor. But there are a few things to note. Okay, so it's going to do phase 1, so it's going to create these files. So so just getting used to the Copilot interface. When you go here and you see tick, you can accept the changes, and usually when it reaches like this, it means that it's actually done with that file. Same with here, and it's actually done it correctly. It's added the symbols for the components as I would have wanted it to, so that's great. And here's the thing, do not press done, because if you press done, it basically clears the entire history in this pane here. And the other thing is that sometimes, for those of you who are new to, who are familiar with cursor, it just takes a bit of getting used to. So if you click accept here, but actually maybe the file is still being generated, in this case it's not, you can actually accept partial changes from my experience, and then you can have a broken build. So usually you should only tick this once you're certain that the file over here has been 100%. Here's a great example, right? So it's showing generating, right? And you can see it's actually 22%. So it's applying edits, and if you accept it here now, it will probably break. So don't do that. Only do it when it's 100%. And the other thing to also note is that even when it reaches 100% here, right, and you accept it, it looks like it's done, but it's not, because if you scroll up, it still says generating at the top. So you have to wait till it prompts you like this, like that, then you know it's verifiable. So let's check it. Okay, so nothing's drawing on the screen yet. Let's check the console. So it says that there's an error here. So I'll say, right, fix that error. Okay, so that's the, oops. That's the first bug that it needs to fix. And I was hoping you'd be able to, you know, avoid this error with some of the prompt guardrails that I had, but it's okay, it's not too bad. And in one of my other videos that I did when I was playing around with Copilot agents, is that if you don't do it step by step and you let it do its thing, it actually is pretty good. It actually is, it kind of runs on and on and on for 10, 20 minutes, even 30 minutes. But each time it iterates, it actually fixes the problems, and then it kind of like suggests the next step on its own. It was very impressive. But for the purpose of this challenge, I wanted to kind of adhere to the structure where the user, in this case me, has a bit of control over like kind of verifying it, as opposed to kind of just watching, the agent kind of like determine what it wants to do and do it and just sit around. So yeah, back to where we are. So hoping that it has at least solved that problem, which I think it does. Great. Oh, that is promising. The movement is not working yet. Oops, my excitement. Movement is not working. Can I zoom in a bit? Yeah, that's a bit better. Movement is not working yet, but it is going to do the pedal movement. And while it's doing that, this is the beautiful thing about agent. I'm going to try to see if I can adjust this window slightly, because just a bit out of view. And I really shouldn't be doing this live, really. You know what, I'm just gonna, it's a bit smaller, at least fit the window in. I can't believe I'm messing with the window during the challenge. It's really, I guess it's better than nothing. Okay, that's fine. Where are we now? So it's doing the input system to register. Okay, good. So let's done that, and let's see. Right, if this is working fine, it is working. Cool. All right. So pedal should start. Should move that. Okay. Continue implementation. Cool. All right. So it's actually making good progress. Much better than some of my other runs, and it's good to see. Oh wow! It's actually created like 3D walls this time for the bounce. That's a first. But yeah, I mean, so far it's looking pretty promising, and I'm hoping that we will be able to get to the core gameplay mechanics plus the scoring and some visual polish. So it's still in phase 1, as you can see, and this is so far looking promising. And I'm hoping, yeah, like I was just saying, in one of the runs that I did where it basically did its own thing, it actually reached a really, really polished state, like midway through in about 20 minutes, which was very impressive. And I did a quick video shot of it, and I actually recorded the entire session as well. I'm glad I did, but it's a little bit too long for this challenge, and so I'm kind of like redoing it just to see how it would look like, in the same structure as I usually do. But really impressed with the agent mode so far. Still some kinks to work out in terms of how the visual interface is and things like that. And I'm just going to try to see if I can, I think the easiest thing to do is to make Visual Studio a bit smaller. There we go. Yeah, and then have a bigger play area screen. Alright, so it's going to add a collision detection, which is going to be interesting to see if it gets it right. Alright, so the launching works. Fantastic. So because it doesn't have the collision system yet, which is implementing now. So that's actually pretty good. That the launching works, means the pedal system works. Let me see. I don't know, like the live system is not done yet as well. So the ball's just going up and then coming down. That's fine. So let's accept all changes and let's see, right? Arrow keys are A and B. So yeah, that's true. Ball starts attached, spacebar launches, ball bounces off walls, and then bounces off pedals. Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't have brick collision. Yes, proceed. Great. This is actually a really good kind of like iterative implementation. So I'm glad that it's doing it now. And yeah, just never press done. Just have to mention it over and over again, because you press down, it clears everything. But yeah, so far it's done this really well. I would say, like it's placed, the bricks at a good height, and it's got the like kind of the core mechanics of the bouncing on the pedal. The collision on the pedal looks good. Look at that. So I'm actually pretty pleased with this so far and quite hopeful. And like I said, this is the first time I actually made that bounce with walls, like a wall meshes on the side, which is nice. Usually there's just this invisible bounce, and sometimes with the invisible bounce, it's not clear why the ball is like not passing past a certain point. So far really good. So where are we now? So setting the score system, and then it's created the score components, the score system, and then adding it to the game. So this is the pattern that you will see, right? It will create the components first, create the systems to work with those components, and then it will add it to the game scene and the game world, which is really good. So what I've wish I had done a bit more was like get the UI in a better state, because oftentimes, yeah, like I was just saying, right? Like the UI tends to be the place where it fumbles over, and sometimes it takes really long just to fix the UI. And I'll just preempt this, but I think it'll be able to fix it. So where was the error? Error was in score system.update. Okay, so I'll do this, and then I think what I do is just prevent. Where's the UI? UI is here. It's a game UI component. Okay, so game UI component. So this is what I found that I have to do a little bit more of with Copilot is constrain it a bit more. So I say in score system ts, it is complaining about, because I think this is a UI component, game UI component. Fix it. Let's see if it's going to be able to fix it on game, because it's really, I can see it's messing around with game UI component, and it's supposed to be fixing errors as it goes along. Oh wow, that is pretty good. It actually fixed it on its own without me doing much. Oh, that's amazing. So yes, so everything seems to be working fine. So I'll start the game. I don't need to fix this now. The base will be attached to the pedal initially. Spacebar to launch, left and right arrows. I'm gonna actually save this as a checkpoint. Yeah, and the other thing is that like Copilot agent mode doesn't have checkpoints, which is really nice in cursor. So I'm gonna have to use like Git manually myself. Okay, so I say implement visual polish. Yeah. Cool. Alright, let's hopefully that does that, because I'm actually pretty happy with this. And let's see what happens when the lives drops down to 0. Oh, game over. Nice. Okay, so I think like that's a bit of a bug. Like it should like reset the position. Oh wait, no, actually it did correct. Yeah. So when lives hits 1, and then hit 0, and then it's game over, and then it does this crazy thing at the top. But that's fine. And the button on the UI doesn't work, but that's also fine. I'll live with that. I really want to see whether I can get some level of polish, because I think like this is a pretty good state, right? And yeah, I don't know whether I'll be able to beat the game. This game is a lot harder than it looks sometimes. I'll tell you that. So okay, so it's actually going to add the visual polish, which is good because it's already added the scores and things like that. So I'm jumping ahead. So if you remember the plan. The plan was to actually it did kind of do the things. It just didn't do the. Actually, it kind of already did phase 2. So it was right to go to visual polish, which is nice. All right. So game.ts. I'm glad that you managed to get to this point here without me having to fix the bug. And that's the thing I noticed about agent mode is that it's really quite good at fixing problems on its own. Like just now, I actually was doing a bit of like code digging to figure out what the problem was, and you saw like I didn't actually need to run the command to fix the error. It actually fixed it on its own, which is really nice. All right, and so you see this is what I was saying just now. While it's generating, right? If you click on accept on any of the files, there's a high chance. Oh wow, what's this? What's this install? Types 3. Okay, whatever, just do it. But yeah, adding the visual. Like, I don't really need that. I just want the particle effects actually. So I don't know why is it installing 3. Like installing something. Okay, so this is something that I totally did not expect. It's installing, like, it's using some new package, which honestly I didn't need it to do. I've seen it add like really good like particle systems and things like that, even without this. So this is completely new to me. But I'm just really glad. Let's just take stock, right? Because I know we don't have a lot of time left. But this is pretty much well, I mean, because the game's not compiling. But if you recall from previously, the game was actually pretty much there, and with quite a lot of time, good time left to do the polish. And I think if I constrain it a little bit to not do what's doing. Time's up. Yeah. So anyway, I was just saying, let this run finish. But I think if I had like been a little bit more specific in my plan about the polish, but lighting and shadows and ball trails, like I didn't expect it to use 3. Like this, whatever it installed. I don't think it's necessary. But let's see what it comes up with, right? Give it a bit of time to get the polish. But overall, really happy with the result. But except that it's broken, so I can't show you. But let's see if it comes. Okay, so it's a swing. Okay, so I think it needs to like update this. So it's been really one of those days. Okay, it's still going. So I'm gonna answer the door. So my coffee's arrived. Yeah, I've been not getting my regular coffee these past weeks. It's just an espresso. Okay, so alright, so it's still doing its thing, isn't it? Do I have to? Oh, you know why? Okay, maybe. It's just a shame that it's like not loading, because at least if I could show that. Oh wow, okay. There you go. Look at that. Alright. That is really something else. Alright, that is really spiffy. I would say that's one of the nicer effects that I've seen. I mean, previously I've seen it do particle effects, but this is actually pretty cool. And it looks like the collision is not correct, but actually it is, because it's actually using walls. See, if you, from this view, you can see that. That's the best view to see it. Like, this view, maybe you can see. Oh, okay, this is very annoying. Okay, sorry, should not be doing that. Okay, sorry. So you can see. Okay, so you can see it is bouncing off the wall. It's just that the shadows isn't the most clear. So maybe I should just zoom in a bit more. Okay, so anyway, let's just take stock where we are right now. Like I said, this is a really good state that it's in, and I think we would have gotten here a lot quicker if it didn't like try to install 3JS, and I should have killed the server a lot earlier and fixed the bug. But overall, no, I think this is really good. I mean, if you think about it, like we got pretty much the main game in 12 minutes, and then this added polish came just shortly after, and if I had the right dependencies, I'm pretty sure it would have been look a lot better as well. Really impressed with agent mode, and this is it for this challenge. I'm actually really glad that it did a polish, because that's the one thing that really impressed me about the agent mode in Copilot, is that the polish that it proposed and it does is always pretty spiffy. And it could be because I'm actually using a 3D game engine this time, so maybe there's a lot more avenues for polish than when I was using, say, a 2D one like Phaser. I think there's a few things that could be improved. For example, I could have a ceiling on top so that it doesn't go all the way up above the things, and yeah, like the lives are decrementing infinitely and the main menu doesn't work. But these are small issues, right? The big core components were actually done in time. Okay, so back to where we are. Yeah, really happy with the end result, and hopefully this was useful. And I would say that my takeaway from this is that GitHub Copilot Agent's release is really a step in the right direction. And I think it's definitely going to give Cursor a run for its money. And actually all of this is totally free. I was using the free version I didn't even have to have a Copilot subscription, but I did get it in case I ran out of rate limits or whatever, or if I wanted to try a different model. But overall, really impressed with Copilot's resurgence. They made a series of announcements, and I think this is really just going to empower folks. So, till next time, see ya. Alright folks, and there you have it. We managed to get the game done pretty much in 12 minutes, and bar a few like last minute niggles, I think we would have been able to get the polish into the game within 12 minutes as well. I'm still not used to using Copilot and VS Code, but I think I'm getting the hang of it now. I'm pretty glad we were able to get to the core game mechanics, including the scoring, and pretty good looking visuals by the end of the 12 minutes, and the polish that we saw was really nice to see as well. I think this was really enabled because we're using a 3D engine, so it looks a lot more impressive, and we were able to pretty much use the same techniques and the core code base that we were using for the 2D versions of the games as well. Hopefully this episode was interesting and helpful for you. I really think that agent mode is a game changer for Copilot adoption. I know a lot of people who have moved away from Copilot and to Cursor, Windsurf, or many of these other tools. I think this might be one of the features that bring people back. I know for sure that I'll be using it a lot more, and I think this is great for both programmers and non-programmers alike, just having this healthy competition. So overall, I'm really happy with what it is. Really hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, if you've got any feedback, suggestions, or ideas of what games to do next, or some new techniques to try, please let me know in the comments. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Alright, see you next time.